Good morning and welcome to today's live on Equa Television Africa. My name is Tony J. Nakali and I have on set with me Sele Elisha Dashon.
Good morning.
I have the tallest Lois Turaki. She's the tallest female staff in Equa Television, in Equa headquarters. How are you, Sele and Lois?
Great, thank you.
Yeah, we hope to have a beautiful day on set as we discuss a very wonderful topic. The topic is so great that we brought it down to one word, but we're touching four facets of it. The topic is value. We're looking at value, not as a word, but as what it is, not as a word, but as what it is. And we're talking about value. We're going to be looking at value as it has to do with work, value as it has to do with relationship, value as it has to do with character, and value as it has to do with your personality, personal value, character value, work value, relationship value. So, but before we dive into that, let's look at the word now, not as what it means. Let's give it a meaning. What is value?
To me, value is something that is priceless, something that cannot be compared with anything. You hold it with so much high esteem, so much regard, so much worth to it. So anything that is of value to me, the thing is priceless, worthy, and also very important to me.
Something useful, important, something you have high regards for. That's what I think.
Wow, having high regards for something. So that means it doesn't have to be everything you have. There are some things you have, you don't place as much value as you do the others. What are some kinds of examples of certain things that you should value more than the others?
I think sometimes we place value on monetary things. Maybe when I buy a certain jewelry more expensive than another, I think I'll value it more than the one I bought not so expensive. And then there are, let's say, some people that you value them more than some others, maybe because of the things they have, some things that they have taught you, or their lifestyle, or maybe a particular thing that you have seen in them that has make you see them in a different perspective. For instance, let me use that example with maybe a drunkard that you feel you can learn so much from. It's just there living some type of way. You might not really place so much value on that person, but someone you hold with high regards, I think you will value the person more than.
What if the drunkard has money to pay bills, but he's still a drunkard?
Well,
If I pay my bills, I don't think I'll value the person.
Regardless of, I think regardless of who people are, if people deserve to be valued, I think they should be valued. There are people that seem to be irresponsible because they are into drunkenness, and then some people are irresponsible because they're into prostitution. But some of these people are more valuable than other people who are not into these negative vices that they do, yet they take care of their family, yet they support their family. They okay, this is it. You have somebody that is living a wasted life, but when it comes to family, he takes care of them. He does everything for family, but then he is just a drunkard, a serious one. And then here is another person who's preaching day and night regularly against drunkenness, but he has money, doesn't take care of his family. Who should be valued the most?
I think it's based on personality
Yes,
and and the value they place on themselves. I think that is the point where we're coming from. Because yes, you're a drunkard, but yet you take care of your family. It's what you've let the society or people to see. I don't value someone who doesn't value himself or value his family, regardless of your money, regardless of your wealth, regardless of what you do. Because you can't expect someone to value you when you don't value yourself. We teach people the way they treat us.
That's true.
So if you don't do so much to yourself, you can't expect me to place a price tag on you, because it's as much as putting a price tag on you that I can go during auditioning, or auctioning, sorry. You can just auction it at any price. You don't care. So if you've placed so much value in yourself, definitely people will look at you in that same regard. Very few people will have time to actually come to your family and see what you do to them. But most times people see you personally, they relate with you on a personal ground. So definitely they will tend to look at you and like, okay, is this person worth the price I'm actually placing on he, or is she worth the price I'm placing on she? Because as far as I'm concerned, she has not done anything to earn my respect or value that I'm placing on her. So I think it's based on the way you've presented yourself that people will place value.
Okay, so let's look at value as it has to do with character now, because when we talk about value regarding character, it is the kind of character you have to be accepted globally. So if we are to elaborate that, how should we coin it for people to have a grasp of what value in terms of character is?
I think the first place you start learning certain things are from the home. And then your parents will start teaching you some kind of things they feel it's important to them, which is valuable to them. So they might want to tell you that this is how you're supposed to be in a particular place, or this is how you should lead a good life, so that people will place value on you. So when families start telling you, okay, don't do this, if you prostitute, or if you let this brother do these things to you, is going to diminish the way people look at you.
Why is it not if you let this sister do this to you?
I'm talking about the sisters now. So I think first of all, it comes from the home. When they start teaching you particular principles, particular values. Some parents will say they don't want you when you're dating a man. Like for the ladies, okay, let me use myself as an example. My dad will always say, bring them home. I want to see this person you always go out to see. I don't want a situation whereby tomorrow I hear something and I don't even know who to hold responsible.
How does he know that you go out to see someone?
Because I go out and definitely you ask, where are you coming from? That's the first question he always asks. Where are you coming from? And maybe you might want to lie, but he will definitely know, where are you coming from? Like me, I don't usually go out. Like my siblings, they were always going to church for one activity or the other, but I was always at home that time. So once I go out, he knows that.
Celestia is funny. This one that would not stay at home. Anyway, let's go ahead. We're in church.
Anytime I go out, he knows that I definitely went to see somebody, and he will be, okay, where are you coming from? I went to so place. Okay, bring this person. We want to see this person. So I think those are
so from just saying you went to so place, you conclude that you went to see a man.
I will tell him I went to see a friend.
That's all. You didn't say that. You said
you asked me who is
you
that
don't
friend.
want us to know.
So I think those are certain values that we get, and then it shapes our character on how we live our lives.
Yeah.
When we're talking about universal values, they are the things that make people accept you for being a human being globally. Because if we are talking about universal values, we are talking about what you can be able to do that is accepted globally. Because you can just be here talking about media. What do you know about media? No, this is how it should be done. Meanwhile, you have never, ever in your entirety done anything that can be accepted even within your community. Haven't you seen people that are just accepted? Okay, recently someone was talking to me about Equa Television. I don't know him. I don't know how he got to get my number. And then he said, I know there is nothing I will tell you about broadcasting because I browsed you. He said so to me. I was driving. He said, because I Googled about you and I found out that you have knowledge in this area. So even the things you post about yourself will make people place a particular value on you.
True.
When people want to find an information about somebody, they don't ask anybody. They just go online. They look at your pedigree as they unfold. One that is built on top of the other that is built on top of the other. And these are not articles written about you. They are not a narration that somebody is reading. You understand? They are more of things that you have done with the United Nations, and United Nations said this about you. They are things that you have done with Equa, and Equa wrote this about you. They are awards that you have received from different organizations. These are the things that people take as a universal value placed on a human being. So if you are valueless universally, I think it's difficult to fit in anywhere, except you go to a different place that is not your abode, and then you start trying to let them know who you are. It's not profile we're talking about, it's value. Because there are people who have the profile, but organizations are skeptical dealing with them because they don't have the value. So profile is not enough. Value is bigger than profile. If we are talking about, what's it called now? The values that man has, or the value that a lady has, regardless in terms of career now, as a person, what is the universal accepted value? It's not just character. It's not just principles. It's all encompassing. Right now, if people are looking for Equa president to speak in a church, nobody will ask, can he preach? You wrote, the guest speaker is Reverend Stephen, that's the Equa president. Are you sure this man can preach? Nobody will ask that question. But if they see me in a top government official as a guest speaker, they'll be like, you are sure about this man? He's a broadcast engineer. You are sure he can deliver? Well, it's debatable. That means my value is not globally accepted in that area. But if we're talking about the area of broadcasting, when someone hears my name, they'll be like, oh, okay. So who is going to be sharing food? Because that is a forgotten issue. Oh, is this person? Oh, okay. Who is going to be the anchor of this Equa president's 75th birthday? It's Lois Turaki. Okay. So who are the ushers? Why? Okay. Lois Turaki is on TV. Everybody sees her value globally, and it is an accepted value. So nobody would tend to argue with that. Everybody would want to believe that. Why? Because she's regularly on TV. But if we bring in someone whose values are not defined universally, I think there will be questions about the person, even if the person seems to be presentable, even if the person looks qualified for such position. People would want to have other questions because there was nothing earlier explaining the values of this person. How can you come about a universal value? How can? You have to think universally. You have to have a universal approach to whatever it is you do. Whatever, and you have to, is a building, is a process where you build. Is a whole process. You have to build it. You have to think, okay, right now that I've been doing this in Ghana for 20 years. What if something pushes me to Israel? What will be my approach? The people in Israel, they absorb this same thing I do for years differently. Their dress code is different. The food they eat is different because you will meet people, you will sit with them, you will eat. You will bring clothes, they'll be like, we have a gift for you. Like I said one time on TV, I was traveling abroad and I bought a very expensive material for a family. Very expensive. When I say expensive, very expensive. And I felt we'll get a tailor there to make something for them. They were like, oh, they loved it, they valued it before me, they showed me. The next day I went to their house, they used it as a tablecloth. They were happy having that material as a tablecloth. But you see, that is the value that they place on it. You can't come to Nigeria and give someone that kind of material and you have them use it on the table. We don't even have tablecloths, except in restaurants. But I don't see tablecloths anymore. So you see, when you talk about value, the kind that is accepted at a universal standard, at a universal level, it has to be something that you built using concerted effort. Okay, let me push this to you, having spoken for a while now. How can one build a universal value?
I think over time, how you can build a universal value is
by 12,
checking.
we will start taking, by 11:30, we'll start taking comments.
I think you need to check your environment and what is acceptable in that place. The fact that it is universally acceptable in this part of the country doesn't mean to be acceptable in another part. So you need to learn the norms and the traditions and the culture of a particular place you are in. So through that, you'll be able to know what is acceptable in this particular place. What are the norms acceptable in this particular place? I know that I'm going to be on TV in this particular station. How do they accept the way I should dress universally? How is it acceptable here? If you move to another place, they also have the value that they place on how it's supposed to be acceptable. So you need to know the traditions of that place. You need to know the norms of that place. You need to know what are the things that they stand for. What are the things that are acceptable to them? What are the things that they don't frown on? I think doing so much of research about things like that will make you know what is supposed to be universally acceptable, because we, just like we said, it's something that is very important. You might just place it that, okay, it's not important to you, but it's something that is very important to them. And that's why, like, let's say, for example, when you're giving a CV, when you submit your CV, there are particular things that a particular station look out for. And there's a particular thing that everybody accepts. In the past, you can come to a place and they tell you they are not interested in whether you had A, B's in your WAEC, but they tend to look at what was your character previously. So these are things that you really, really need to be to check and be very careful. So you don't just think that because in the place you're working before, or in a place that you're so familiar with the environment at a particular place, this is how they accepted things, and then you just take in that same thing and bring it to another place.
No, it doesn't work that way.
So you really need to know what is acceptable at each particular place at each particular time.
Lois, you have an opinion about that?
Building values, I feel you have to be skillful in a particular area for you to be able to build value in it. Like there are places you go, and then you definitely have to check what is valuable to them. Because we said values are things that people hold in high regards, important things and priceless things. What are those things that are valuable to that environment? If it's not valuable to them, like you said, when you took the expensive material,
very expensive, Lois.
Very expensive. They didn't value it because in that area is not something they take in a high regard. It's not important to them. But looking at bringing it to our country now, it's very valuable. People hold it in high regard. So you have to be very cautious about what people hold in high regards, so that you will be able to build your own value in that environment.
So the first thing to consider is people have to start thinking globally. You know, people have to start thinking globally. If we are talking about value, you have to start thinking globally. What is value? What kind of value is accepted in the US? What kind of values are accepted in the UK? What in Asia? Wherever you intend to. So you have to start thinking big. Are you an accountant? What is the global accepted standard of accounting? Do you understand? Are you a surgeon? what is the global accepted standard, even though we know surgery is surgery, but what is the global accepted standard? Because like Sele tried to point out, people are no longer employing you based on what you read, based on what you studied, not even the university you attended. People are looking at your abilities and your capabilities, because you have to have both. What can you do? And then what is your capacity? Because some people can treat a document, 5 of same document, because they learned that in school. Somebody can treat 10 of that same document within a day, and there are no mistakes. But the person who did 5, you have to check a few things. It's called capacity. So when you are looking at value, capacity has to play a role in it as well, right? So we said we are going to look at character, which is what we just did now. We should also look at work value. What is the value placed on work? What should be the value that someone should place on a work, on the job that he or she has? When we're talking about value, what should it be? The value that you place on your work. Sele, do you have any opinion?
Yeah, I think my opinion is that what your value should be so much importance and worth. Because I think over time, the way people approach certain things tells a lot about who they have been and the environment and the people that they have been around for so much a period of time. When you give someone a particular thing to do and then the person doesn't treat it well, especially when it comes to work, we know that once you're at work, it's work. You're all supposed to be focused on. But the moment you see someone treating work with so much carelessly, then that tells a lot about that person's character. Because whether we like it or not, our character have a way of playing out in our places of work. You cannot separate those two. You can be very intelligent, you can be very skillful, but once you do not have that character, you cannot be in that place of work for a very long time. Because at the point in time, people will begin to hate you, people will begin to detest you, people will begin to not even want to be around you because you don't make work sweet for them any longer. So work's supposed to be placed with so much high regard, so much importance, so much worth, because once you feel that you're irreplaceable, there's nobody that's not replaceable. Once you start behaving anyhow, you can be replaced in the twinkle of an eye. So we need to know that if value, we said, is something that's irreplaceable, so when you're at a place of work, you should know that this work is so much important, it's so much useful to me, so I should give it all my best at all times.
Most organizations or workplaces have their visions, they have their missions, they have what they want to achieve. So once you're being employed to that particular organization, there are things they expect you to do, your work, what you're supposed to do every day. So when you come and you don't do what you're expected to do, then it becomes a problem to you, and your employer would definitely not be happy. They will call your attention to it. Okay, this is what you were employed to do and you're not doing it. That means you don't place much value on whatever it is that you were asked to do. So coming down now to workplaces, you have to be very you have to put your all, like be what's the word now? You have to put all
commitment.
You have to be committed to your work, so that you will place value on it and then do what you're expected to do.
Because value at work makes you. That's why I always tell people to take work seriously, because work value makes you find out who you want to be. And when you eventually find out who you want to be, you get satisfaction in life. As long as you are yet to find out who you want to be, you are not satisfied. Quote this anywhere. Satisfaction comes from understanding who you want to be and achieving that person that you want to be. Because at first, what started? Desire. Desire to do what? To study. After you studied, what? Work. Now that you have the job, what? You want to find out, you want to see that you become that best surgeon. And in the midst of, you are working in a hospital where anytime they take out a fibroid surgery, 6 out of 10 people survive. And then you give yourself a task of saying, I want to be the one taking up all surgical cases, or not surgical cases rather, but I want to be the one in charge of fibroid operations or surgeries. And then you start doing it. Out of the 4 people that are dying in every 10, it reduced to 2. It reduced to 1. And suddenly 10 out of 10 operations are successful because of Dr. XYZ. Is it because he went to school abroad, or because of the decision he took on adding value to what he knows? It is the decision, because there are so many people that went to the same class with him. So many people are in the same field with him. So many people are working in different hospitals as him. But look at the issue now. He put a value to work. The value is not even on work. The value is on human lives. And he has achieved. Now he's finding success. Because they say a journey becomes successful when one finds what he seeks. You are working. You have set targets that will turn out to be your value. And at the end of the day, you are succeeding in the same values that you are adding, that you are working hard to achieve. And suddenly you have achieved it. What do you think is next? Fulfillment. You have fulfillment. You have satisfaction. You have fulfillment. But let's say that in the case of that doctor, he came, 6 people survive, 4 die. And he says, give me this. And then reverse became the case. 4 people survive, 6 people die. 3 people survive, 7 people die. What do you think his value would be?
To drop.
He will be degraded. He will be degraded. You know, young people, we have a problem. We have a problem. We have a problem that is dichotomized by peer pressure. There are people that are making it in life that are the same age range as you. They added value to their work. They added value to what they want to become. You did not add value. That is why you will be looked for during surgery. You will not be seen. Oh, I just strolled to get this. It's the surgery time. Okay, let me wash my hand and do the surgery. You have to give your mind to everything. You have a show for 12. But you are stepping in the studio 5 minutes to 12. No, you have to sit and be in the show. You have a message to deliver somewhere. Value. What are these people asking me to come and speak about? Is it death? Is it marriage? Is it wedding? Whatever it is. Let me prepare ahead of time so that they can get nothing but the best. The difference between you and the other person that is succeeding, especially young people, is value. There are some people you hardly see outside. They are buried online looking for information. The difference between you and that person, you are looking for the new clothes available. He's looking for the new information in his field of work. You will have the clothes, you will look good. He may not bother about that, but he's making the headlines. You are not. The only place where you are celebrated is online. And this online, the platforms, they are playful platforms. People who have success on these platforms, they don't tell you what. They don't tell you how. They don't tell you when. They don't tell you where. So you just see them appearing and you want to fit along. See, Lois and Sele, go and check your phones. Go to your gallery check your gallery, you probably would see a picture from every event you have taken. But go and check your success story. Go and check your achievements. Go and check your value. Is it anything to compare to your gallery? Because right now, the world is not just Nigeria. We are crazy about having the best pictures at the best spots at every given opportunity. You want to take a picture and post it. And then what? How can value be added to a thing like that? How can? Of course, when you have the opportunity of taking a picture with the president of this country, you do that. People will accrue that to your success. At least you are worth taking a picture with the president. Something very important took you there. We understand that as an integral. In fact, from your gallery, your success story can also be fished out. But if all you do is to celebrate your liabilities, what is value? There's no value for work. There's no value for work. See, the people who mine gold, have you ever seen them? They look dirty, they are in the mud, they are everything, but the best of dressing is not complete if that president's wife does not have a golden earring, if she doesn't have a golden necklace, she doesn't have golden bracelets and all that. But look at the people who brought the gold to her. They look dirty. They look everything. But do you know how much they sell this gold? Have you ever seen their mansion? Look at Dangote. He wears jeans and t-shirts. He moves round to visit his workplace. He has factories. He goes round. Recently, he's building a refinery or something. I think they Sandfield a beach and all that. You need to see him on location, on the site. He's all round. He's everywhere with his phone in his hand, taking calls and making sure work is happening. How many young people are like that? How many young people are thinking like that? I watched an interview that he granted. He said he knows some of his staff that have holiday homes in UK and all of that. He said he doesn't have. What are you holidaying for?
What people place value.
What people place value. What people place value. There's nothing wrong with resting. But you see, when people bring an idea to you that you have to travel abroad to rest, I have tried it, it didn't work. I got much rest in my bedroom than traveling abroad to rest. You won't rest because abroad has a lot of things that you would want to go and see. Rest will not come. So if we're talking about work value, for you to have satisfaction, you must determine your value. You must determine your value. Yesterday, I watched an interview and I was shouting in the car, and I had some staff with me in the car. We were driving home and I was shouting in the car. It was Steve Harvey when he visited Dubai. I think he was with maybe the president or so of Dubai. And Dubai so grew just in 50 years. And then he said, this cannot be money. He said, money cannot build this city. He said, it is vision. And what did he say about vision? He said, money cannot buy vision, but vision can buy money.
Yeah.
Money does not bring vision. Vision brings money. But we are chasing it the other way around. And if you remember, I would always say, don't work on becoming someone. But don't work on having money. Work on becoming someone with who you eventually become. Money will not be an object. Money will not be an object. I believe that so well, and I'm working towards it. And how can you say that without adding value? Now that takes us to relationship. How are you placing value on the relationship you have, whether it's with your sister, whether it's with your mother, whether it's with your boyfriend, that they're always asking you where you're coming from, whether it's with whoever. What is value? How should you place value on a relationship?
Okay.
Okay, you are rushing to talk now. We're talking relationship. Oh, I'm stuck with lovers on set. Okay, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead. It's fine. It's fine.
All right.
No, talk.
All right, what I feel is...
You just only don't have to talk all at once, but talk.
Okay. To me personally, I feel regardless of the relationship, whether it's friendship, family, relationship should be treated with so much value, so much respect.
What should bring about the value?
what should bring about the value is what the other person makes value to be. In my family, yeah, I need to know
what the other person makes value to be. Wow. Go ahead.
Because I believe that what value might be to me might not be value to you. So we need to come together and to the table and say, this is what I place as being very valuable to me. And at any point in time, you shouldn't tamper with this. Integrity is very important to me. It's very, very paramount to me. I place so much value on my integrity. I might not have money, but you see, this reputation and integrity that I have should not be tampered with whatsoever reason. And so this is what I've placed as value. And so I need to know that what have you also placed as value to you? What is valuable to you? Because if you just feel being hanging out, that's what value is to you, then that's not what value is to me. Then we need to draw a line and know that this is where I stand and this is where you stand. We don't have anything to share in common. We need to come to a place and know this is what is very important to me. Is this also important to you? In the family, which we know, this is where most of us learn most things about ourselves, and to some extent it defines us or who we are. You need to know that at a point in time, we cannot say we don't have conflict in the house. We all have where we meet and where we don't meet. But then we need to come to understand that, okay, as family is very important to me. Anybody that knows, I say family is very, very paramount to me because I spend most of my time with my family than outside the home. So we need to know that this is what value is. My home, you need to come home on time. It's very valuable to us. It's very important. So if you're coming to my house, you need to know that you need to be home before 8, regardless of where you are, except if something important is keeping you out, and which you need to place a call. It's very valuable to us because this is the tradition we maintain in my house. So if you're coming into my family, you know that this is what is valuable to us. You need to also hold it in very high regard. And so this has the way of, because of where we find ourselves relationship-wise, it has the way of playing itself in other places. Sometimes we even take the value we have from our families to our workplace. We take the value we've taken from our family, even to our own personality, the way we are personally. You will just find out that unconsciously, this is the way I behave. This is the thing that it plays as being valuable to me, and it's why, because of where I've come from, people that I've hung around with at one point or the other. So to me, value is something that is very, very important, especially when it comes to relationship.
Yesterday we talked about expectations, and then
kudos, I watched the show. You guys did well.
Thank you.
So we said sometimes you don't value relationship, you don't value friendship because you don't really see that person in that regard. When I'm in a relationship with somebody, or I have Sele as my friend, there are things I expect Sele to do to me. There are things I expect her to give me. And if she's not doing that, that means she doesn't really value me. So if she's not doing what I'm expecting her to do for me, that means the relationship is not valuable to her. Those things that I tell her are valuable to me and she's not doing it, that means she doesn't even value the relationship. She doesn't value the friendship. And things that in the family, your parents say these are the things they expect you to do, these are the things that they don't expect you to do, and you don't do what they want you to do, that means you do not value them as well. You don't place high regards on your parents, because if you do, you will do what they ask you to do. You will act the way they want you to do, the right way, because there are some parents that will want you to do things that are not really right. But then when they ask you to do right things and you do it, that means you place value on them. You have high regards and they are important to you. So that's how I see relationship and friendship and family values.
Okay, so what are these values born out of? Like that point, I think it was missing in the excitement of trying to explain what relationship values are. The thing is, what are my values? They are different from what I value. I'm meeting you, Sele, I want to go into a relationship with you. You have that culture of going home at 8. You value that. These are your values. It's part of what you value. Me, I like meeting you from 8 till 3 a.m. My own value. How do we agree? And you love me.
We need to come to a compromise.
Of what? Do you have to compromise what value is to you?
I don't need to compromise what value is to me, but we need to communicate.
Okay.
That's where the place of communication is.
Let's act this. Let's act it. Talk to me now. I want to see you from 8 and above.
And I'm sorry, I can't make it from 8 and above.
So the relationship should pack up?
The relationship can't pack up, but I want you to also see.
But we are not agreeing on the same thing.
Yes, we are not, but I want you to also see it from my own point of view. This is staying above 8 o'clock. It's totally against what I stand for. Based on the reasons why in the environment we stay, it's not safe any longer to stay outside once it's after 8. My parents, I stay with my parents, so definitely I need to be home quite early. And even if I'm not with my parents, it's something that I just think my security is very, very important to me. And if you love me, you also want to watch out for me being safe. So I feel that
now this is the point where I want you to prove this out. If you love me, what if I compromise but really I don't love you? How will you know? Because ladies, you foolishly make demands. You don't know who you are dealing with. He's called a guy. He is in most cases smarter than you, no matter how foolish he appears to be. And you know in most cases we appear to be foolish. Because even you people tag us this way. Kisakuma foolishly, he just did this. We know exactly what we are doing. Talk less. Work with our actions. See, in terms of values, right? Men have few of them. Ladies have plenty. We find it difficult to cope with what you call values. And you start mistaking it for not loving you. Forgetting the whole point that we are men. Our wiring chart is extremely different from yours. You people have thousands of cables that wire you. We just have one. Our reasoning is straight. When you are talking to me as your man, and you try to tell me, from morning I went to the office, you can imagine I wasn't ready for the show, the GM just said I should get ready. Well, the whole of it is that we did this and we did this. Do you know that the pipe in the kitchen broke and we need to... What I'm waiting to hear is, do you have a solution? If you don't, present the case to me and shut up. That does not mean I don't love you. Men don't want to go into the nitty-gritties of situations. We don't have time for that. It's how we are wired. That's why I told you we have just one cable. You people have thousands of cables within you. You know fuse? Do you know fuse? You have fuses that cannot be counted. When one is blown, pop, you immediately put another one and bring the same argument up. It is difficult to be in love with a lady, but it's easy to be in love with a man. This is the secret. When you add a value to the values you've had given to a man, he would watch you. These things are not a big deal to him to do. But when you present these values as instructions, you have lost the man. You have. When you present your values as instructions to a man, you have lost him. Even if he pretends to love your values. I'm telling you, men don't like taking instructions, especially when it's coming from ladies. But men like being talked to straightforward. Brother Jim, what do we do? I love you as much as I love you. I can't stay outside past 8, and you know the nature of my house and all that. What do you think we should do? He would say, okay, maybe I should be coming to your house. He might think that way. He might decide not to do anything with it. So if you are ready for your value not to be tempered with, I think you are with the wrong person. But if a man loves you, value, no value, curfew at home, no curfew at home, he will do whatever it takes to see you. But when he starts doing whatever it takes to see you, appreciate it by being submissive. Somebody came to see you 2 walls apart. He drove or managed to come and see you and he's leaving. Instead of you to appreciate, wow, you took this whole time to come and see me, even though it was for such a short period of time. I wholeheartedly appreciate it. But when you start, even when you came, you stayed only 3 minutes, forgetting the sacrifice. Somebody drove maybe 10 minutes to come and see you, saw you for 3 minutes and drove back 20 minutes. You didn't put all together to make it 23 minutes, to appreciate him for 23 minutes. He placed value on the relationship, which is bigger than every other thing. The relationship is bigger than your values. So he placed value upon it and he came. But all you thought was the quantity and not the quality. The quality cannot be explained disregarding the time put together to come and see you. And even when he spends 1 hour, you have a way of saying, you came for this 1 hour, we would have dashed down here and bought shawarma and come back safe since you refused. No, always appreciate your man. Always. At all times and in everything, tell him thank you. He will do more. Men, we cry a lot. I think it was in this show that I said men cry, but they don't show you. We will suck it up and come and stand before you and look like we are like serious and all. No, we cry. We like, what? Lois did this to me. Then you make sure your door is locked. You let it out. When your eyes and everything is healed, you open the door back and sit down. What is she calling me for? As if you are not the man that just cried now. You have to understand us. So when you add value in a relationship, how should the values be applicable? If he respects the values, he will look for a way of applying it. If he doesn't, you should head for the borders. There are more men there coming from different countries. You meet at the border, the semi-border. You have Nigerian men there, you have Cotonou men there. So you choose one from there. You head for the borders. But honestly, if we're talking about relationship values, a man feels it's a smaller problem to cheat on you because you don't even deserve him. Why? Because you didn't show him. Why would a man leave the woman he wants for another woman? In most cases, lesser. You have to cherish what you have. See, we are egotistical as men. If you understand that you have finished us, do you know that in that whole portfolio where you work, no staff is as brilliant as you are? He would want to come closer to you because of what he hears from you. Do you know that the whole of Echo Headquarters, nobody dresses like you? He wants to hear that. He wants to hear that, man, you're English, man. He wants to hear that you have to be his cheerleader. You have to be the cheerleader, I'm sorry. Cheerleader, right? You have to be the cheerleader. You have to be. He is your man. Nobody will cheer him more than you. The day he finds something more somewhere, he will try the option. It's like a car. You drive a Mercedes 240, they tell you, man, have you seen 280? I heard it's priced, I think just 100 or 200,000 more. You can get that with what you have. Oh, let me try it. Wow, this car, woo, speed. That's how some men treat you. You have to add value. Don't think he will rubbish you when you do that. No, don't think that way. It's other women that have ego that cannot do that. Because of their ego, they can't do that. They are also advising you not to do that. But if you say, this is my man, who should tell him sweet things?
You should do.
No, you should do it. Me, I'm a man.
I should do it.
Lois, if he's your man, who should tell him sweet things? So who is telling him? Who is telling him? If you start telling him sweet, you will find less need to start taking a sneak peek into his WhatsApp. You start less need because you know you are on top of the situation. Sorry, this is Hausa. But I'm telling you honestly, you know that you are at the top of the situation. When you do that, you will feel less need to think, this person is at home, who is at home with him? You will not think that way. You will know that even if somebody calls him, he will say it. I used to have a friend. Okay, I have a friend, not used to. A lady was liking him. And then I told her to tell him, because he's single, Do you know what she said? She said he would tell his mother. So I said, no, just express yourself. And she did. The next thing, it was his mother that called her. They are married today. I said, men want to hear it. If you have something to say, say it. They are out of the country. If you have something to say, say it. And a year after they got married, his mother died. So say it. Don't hold it. Don't think, hey, I'm pumping air to his head. What's wrong with that? He's your man. Don't think his head will be bigger. You're not buying him hats. So don't worry about that. He doesn't even wear it. Tell him. Let him wake up to your message. His value. His value.
What value does he place on the lady that is with him?
You will not know until you start doing these things.
And what if you...
Because, Lois, can you take 10,000 and invest in road construction? You don't know anything about it. But I'm sure you can take 10,000 and invest in beauty products because you know a lot about it and you can almost determine your gain. So it's worth the investment. The guy is yours already for the time being. At least. For now, this is my person. And even this is not to say brothers are upright most of the times. Some of them, no matter how even if you beg Jesus to talk to them, they will do what their heart tells them to do. And these are the kind of guys that you find difficult to leave and jump into another relationship. You know? So finally, okay, you guys wanted to say something because we have to talk about personal value as well. So we have talked about work value, we have talked about character value, we have talked about relationship value. Now we have to talk about personal value, which is almost like the same thing as the relationship because they are intertwined. The personal value you add to yourself is what another person will see and decide to be with you or not to be with you. So when we're talking about personal value, what are the things to watch out for?
I think if we're going to look at personal value, what you should watch out for is what the person stands, what the person believes in, what the person holds in very high regards. Because if you take your own personal value to respect other people, they might not see that as being value. So you need to know what value is to someone else so that you don't impose your own personal value to people. Someone might see value as being, or value as being the way you just dressed or something. Everybody would do what stands for them and what they agree to. But just like I said earlier on and from the very beginning, what value is to me is what I hold, especially when it comes to integrity. I don't want you to cross that boundary. This is what it is to me. And as much as possible, I try that even when I fall, I try to stand upright and still remain on that path again, because this is something that has stand for me. Over time, it has worked for me, and this is what I believe in, and I just don't want it to change that whatsoever. So my personal value most time has place in my relationship, most time has place in my workplace, because I can't separate that. That's who I am. It's just who you can define me by. This is what I stand for. So maybe when you're putting my name, then you put what I stand for in the middle of it. So it's kind of like my middle name, because you cannot separate us from it. This is what I stand for. It's very priceless to me. It's very useful to me. I use it at every point in time. So I think that's what personal value, personally to me, that's what it stands for.
What are your principles? What are your standards? What do you uphold? When personally, there are things that I cannot go against. Like, these are the things, these are my principles and these are my standards. There are times that, most times I know you talk to us about how you deal with men, and you shouldn't be so cheap around with men. So what are those things that you hold in high regard? What are your standards? Like, personally, I know there are things that I cannot do for a man. There are things that I wouldn't take for a man. Not that I want to be rigid, or I don't want to be submissive.
Can some examples be said on TV?
No, not today.
Okay.
Yes. So I know that there are standards that I put for myself, that whenever I'm going into a relationship, I don't cross them, and I try to make you understand this is it, this is what I want, and this is how I want not that I'm instructing you, but for us to understand and give me that respect that I need.
Wow. The relationship must have, if you are talking about personal values, people must also have compromising standards as values too. Because here am I. Oh, Lois, I can't imagine my life without you. At that point, some compromising standards of my values must come to play. If this girl is saying, Kai, no sex till we are married, and me, I am a Oba of sex every 2-3 days, I must have sex, and now she's saying no sex till we are married, and I am thinking, Kai, I can't live my life without Lois. I should go for it. I will keep trying to see if she will let in, but because people should also have compromises that are not detrimental, just so that while your eyes are set on the price, you have hopes that at the end, Lois can be yours. You have to compromise certain things, because men, like I said earlier, ego, not really pride, but I am a man. Why would she? In those days, ladies do things for men. They come to your house, they wash, they clean, they do all of these things. And then suddenly you marry the one that has nails that cannot even rinse a handkerchief. Where are all the good things you have done? What is he thinking? Do we have comments? What is he thinking? Like, and all that. So if you have standards, if people are telling you these are the things that you should watch out for, certain times you can be like, because I am with this person, Kai, I don't think I should lose this person just by being this way. I can just compromise a bit, not against your belief, but I can just compromise a bit. We have a few comments. I'd like to read them. The first one is from Genesis Agara. There are things that when you have only the poor, there are things that when you have, only the poor will seek you. There are things that when you have, the rich will seek you. But there are things that when you have, all men will seek you. So your mind have to think and also act globally. That is what all categories of men want. And then we have Yusuf Moody. He said, welcome. I don't know to what, but thank you, babies, for the show. Then you guys are doing well. Emmanuel Hosea, a great job. Keep it up. We are getting blessed and informed. Watching from Jalingo, Taraba. I think these are the only comments that we have. So final thoughts. What do you have to say about value in just a second or two? And then
my final thought, it's regardless of where you find yourself, just be true to what you stand for, because value is it has so much word. Value is very useful, so you should stand for what is right and for what is true at all times.
Try not to compromise your values. Hold them with high regards.
Well, it's been today's live on Equa Television Africa, and today we looked at the word value. Not just the word, but the meaning. And we looked at personal value, work value, relationship value, and we talked about character value. If you did miss out on any part of the show, it's still on Facebook and YouTube, and you can go there and watch. Thank you, everybody that made this show wonderful. And thank you, Equa Executive, for giving us the opportunity to do this on air. On behalf of me and everyone at Equa Television, we are grateful. Stay blessed. We will see you tomorrow with another interesting topic. God bless you. Bye-bye.